All right, everybody, welcome to the third segment of this Trading 101 class that I had put together. So today we're going to be going over the basics of volume and open interest. And as always, as a disclaimer, this is just strictly how I trade. This is my trading style. This is not me telling you guys how to trade. I am literally just explaining my style of trading. So go ahead and get started. So what is volume? Volume is the amount of an asset or security that changes hands over some period of time, often over the course of a day. So with options trading, volume is the amount of contracts traded over the course of a day. So in simpler terms, I put it as volume is just a transaction between a buyer and a seller. So if you put this in perspective, if you buy one contract from a seller, then that will equal up to one volume on that specific strike price. Assets with higher volume are more liquid since they are actively being traded more, and all liquidity is just how rapidly shares of a stock can be bought or sold without substantially impacting the stock price. So you want higher liquidity on a stock when you're trading it, just because it's easier to buy and sell out of that stock. So trading with volume is a key technical analysis indicator to measure the relative significance of a market move. So for example, if an underlying stock is breaking out a resistance point, or it's breaking your key level, it's breaking a Fibonacci level, and it has low volume, this can signify that the move is not supported by volume or buying pressure. And that could be, it could leave the trade more susceptible to being a false breakout. So you want the highest amount of confirmation on your trades. So if you do have something breaking out of a level, breaking out of a Fibonacci level, whatever you use to trade, if something is breaking out of a resistance point or support, and volume is not high on that move, just be mindful that that trade can be susceptible to being a false breakout. You want high buying pressure on if you're going long and high selling pressure if you're shorting a stock. So the higher the volume during a price move, the more significant the move is, and the lower volume during a price move, the less significant the move is. So with open interest is just basically representing the total number of open contracts on a security. So unlike volume, open interest can decrease during trading hours. So volume will only increase during trading hours. Open interest, the amount of open contracts during a trading session can decrease. If, people sell it, then the amount would decrease, obviously. So trading with open interest, I personally use both open interest and volume in conjunction with each other to basically form another form of confirmation when I'm trading. Looking at contracts with high volume and high open interest tells me that this specific strike has a lot of liquidity and the strength is behind the intended move of the underlying. So while I'm in a position, I always like to either write down or kind of give a little gist of what number the open interest was when I entered the trade. Just so, say if the stock is pulling back, then I could go back and look at the open interest on my contract. So if stock is pulling back and the open interest is decreasing and the volume is increasing, this can indicate that the stock is starting to reverse. So when you're looking in trades, I always like to look at it as if you have a nice move up and your stock is pulling back, I like to look at volume every single time, because if you have decreasing volume on a pullback, then this is telling you that volume is not being supported on this pullback. So basically, sellers are not the reason why the stock is going down. So if you have higher volume while the stock is pulling back, that means sellers are in control. Sellers are pushing the price down, which can continue. If it's a pullback, if it's strictly just a pullback, then you will see either volume being stagnant or it will be decreasing. So one thing I want to show you guys was a trade recap on a play that we took a couple of days ago on Oracle. We did play this stock 2 times this week, I believe, and both times they were extremely profitable. The first time it was over a 200% profit trade. So I wanted to go over this with you guys really quick. With this trade, you had Oracle here, a very nice move up right here. You had this strong move up, and it started to form this nice bull pennant. So when you have a nice pattern forming, you want to start looking at, what will make me want to enter this trade. What different aspects of this trade will, have a lot of probability for me to be profitable. So on this bull pennant, I'm looking for a break above to continue this uptrend. So if I go to intraday chart, and during that session right here, you could see that price broke above the pennant basically right at open. That was a really strong move. Volume does tend to be really high right at the opening bell or the first 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes of market open. So you want to be mindful of entering a trade right at open. So that's exactly what I did. I waited a little bit. You have high volume right at open when it's breaking the pattern. So all I was waiting for was a continuation of this trade. So you could see there's two strong candles breaking out here. You can see the nice break of the pattern clearly right there. It broke above, and all I'm waiting for is a continuation. Trades are very volatile right at market open, so I like to wait a couple minutes to enter my trades just so I can get the most confirmation out of this intended move. So when it did break out, pulled back a little bit, stayed above my moving averages. So this was a strong trade in my opinion. So I went ahead and took that trade and alerted. So if you look at volume on this stock, you could see as we move up, as the stock keeps moving up, you can see volume steadily increasing. And that is showing you that buying pressure is supporting this move on the way up. When you have this pullback, these three candles pulling back, you could see volume starting to decrease a little bit. You do have a really high volume spike on this move right here. You do see a high volume spike right here, and I believe this is when news came out about some lawsuit with Google that Oracle had, but you could see it retraced right down to the 21 EMA moving average, and it bounced right back up. So that was that didn't make me want to exit my trade. It was still bullish in my opinion. And as you could see, stock moves back up, volume is steadily increasing. So that is a very strong move. Buying pressure is high on this move. So this is what I like to see. You can see my price target would be here, breaking out of the pennant here. Previous all-time high being 74.9. That would be my first price target, and that's where I start trimming my position. And as you can see, as it broke, had this little consolidation period right here, right at the level. You still had high buying pressure. Once it broke out, once it came out of that consolidation period, you had this very high volume spike right here, and the move started to continue. So this is why I stood in that trade, just because buying pressure was there basically all day, and then every pullback you had decreasing volume. So this is basically like a textbook, what I like to see in a trade. You have volume decreasing on pullbacks, you have buying pressure increasing on the moves up. So the trade, in my opinion, was very bullish, which is why I stood in most of the day and caught such a high profit off of this trade. So guys, that's basically the gist of it. I just wanted to go through the basics of open interest and volume and how I trade with them in conjunction with each other. It's really not that difficult, or it's not that complicated. If you guys want to DM me with any questions that you may have or that I didn't cover that you guys want to know, feel free to. As always, if you have any suggestions on what you want to see on a future session, or if you want to see any changes made in the sessions, feel free to DM me, DM any of the Unrivaled staff, or you can drop it in the suggestions channel up in the Discord. And if you guys are viewing this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and if you guys want to check out Discord, you could visit www.unrivaledoptions.com, and you could check out all our content there. We have merchandise up for sale, and you could check out our Discord with the invite from there. Thank you guys for coming out, and I will see you next time.